So here we are with Justice Patricio Serna, former Chief Justice of the New Mexico Supreme Court, right here in our studios. My gosh, we just got through listening to the wonderful words, the experienced words of Ambassador Edward Romero, a prominent name in New Mexico. So we had a wonderful conversation. You can look it up on one of the episodes. And Ambassador Edward Romero is on there. And today, another special star, a star of New Mexico politics to be sure. None other than our good friend, Justice Patricio Serna. Welcome to the Spanglish Show, Justice.
Muchas gracias, Nelson.
Un placer.
And I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here in your beautiful home with beautiful art, beautiful library of books, and
a beautiful host. No.
of course, a very renowned and loved man, Nelson Martinez.
Oh, Justice, that's
and look
nice
at this. You're giving me an opportunity to be interviewed for posterity.
For sure.
So that the people that come after us will know who we are, what we did. And then you just finished interviewing a dear friend of mine, Ed Romero, who's a legend in his own time here with all the many marvelous things that he has done, because he is a natural leader, and he has done so much for all the people in New Mexico that I was shocked this morning when I saw him, and he's 91 years old.
Imagine.
But I'm just a few years behind. I'm 85 myself.
Right on it.
So,
This taping, 85. Hey, this 2024, Christmas around the corner. You guys look marvelous. Oh, man.
Thank you.
I hope I can age as gracefully as you. I'm getting up there.
Gracias. Pero, like we say, son los años.
Hay una canción, hace tiempo que he notado que la vida me ha cambiado hasta el modo de vivir. ¿Ah?
Sí, exactamente.
Hacemos lo que hacemos, pues.
¿Y te acuerdas cuando estábamos en el Christmas party de Glenn Holmes el año pasado?
Sí.
Y hoy tú cantamos las mañanitas.
A ver, otra vez. Estas son las mañanitas que cantaba el rey David. A las muchachas bonitas se las cantamos a ti. Despierta, mi bien, despierta. Mira que ya amaneció. Ya los pajarillos cantan. La luna ya se metió. Very nice.
And we'll do it again this year.
We'll do it again this year. You know that song, Las Mañanitas, I'm telling you. I should know it in and out. I've sang it forever.
Exactly.
But I was asked to sing it at a good friend's birthday party.
Oh, my God. Though,
and I went to and I
beautiful...
forgot the words in the middle of it. I was so embarrassed.
Oh, no. You have a beautiful voice.
Sorry, Mark.
Very beautiful voice.
Oh, that's a good song, and it's just what it is.
And Glenn's having his annual Christmas party.
Yes.
And
we're all gonna be there, God willing,
yes.
as I say.
And we'll sing Las Mañanitas again.
That's right. Isn't that a cool song?
I never sing, to be honest with you, but with you, I can go along and I remember the words.
Oh, well, what the heck.
With my background coming from a small town, rural town, Reserve,
yeah.
Having been born in Cruzville, 7 miles away.
Wow.
It's still there. It's finally on the map, because it wasn't on the map for many, many years, but it's on the latest maps. And 7 miles out of Reserve.
Wow.
But growing up there, the old traditions that I remember that are no longer with us, for example, for Christmas and for New Year's, our friends and neighbors would come and they would sing Las Mañanitas.
Sí.
And we would all be there listening and everything. And we would have, hot chocolate coffee, y un traguito for
Un traguito.
lo que querían. And my dad loved that. I loved it.
Yeah.
But that was an annual tradition. And they would come and sing just a few songs and then go on to the next house because they would canvass. It was a small town anyway, so, they could never have done it in a big town.
Yeah.
But in Reserve, they did it every year, and that's a wonderful tradition that's embedded deeply in my memory. At 85, I rely on my memories to know what a wonderful life I've had and what wonderful traditions we've had. Another one that I miss, although the matanzas. When our neighbor, Don Ramon Jaramillo, would have a...
Un marranito.
Marranito.
Oh, marranote or marranito.
And,
little or big, either way.
and-
It was delicious. They were cook it underground, no?
No, they're in Reserve. They would cook it above ground.
Above ground.
But then they'd carve it up after it was
Yeah,
cooked.
oh, yes.
And we'd get tortillas
Ay.
and a big bowl of red chili.
Ay.
And they would make chicharrones in a
Chicharrones.
big black pot. And I even would help them stir it with this big...
I can
big
relate. I did
stick.
that with Grandma and Grandpa were doing chicharrones.
And that's pretty well gone.
Yeah,
However,
yeah.
in northern New Mexico,
Yeah.
around Española,
In Chimayo.
Chimayo, and in through there, they still do it occasionally.
Yeah.
Although the one that did it every year died, and
Oh.
he invited me every year, Sanchez.
Oh.
And I would
tortillas.
go every year, and I would take them, a bottle of wine or something. And
they'd have the tortillas ready.
they had tortillas,
Chicharrones.
homemade tortillas,
Heck yeah.
and we made the chicharrones there,
That's
and
right.
we would eat them, and we would have carne asada,
Ay.
and with a chile colorado. So, pero se murió Efren Sanchez, and he used to work at the legislature every year, so we stayed in contact.
You stayed in touch,
and he
yeah.
had a nice place there,
Yeah.
in Velarde.
In
to be
Velarde?
honest with
Oh,
you.
yeah, yeah.
And he had raised the best chili, and he'd
Yeah.
always give me chile verde,
Chile verde.
the best. And
Yeah.
he would always invite me to his annual matanza.
Yeah.
And
Do you attend any of those these
yes,
days?
Yes. And I have pictures of that,
Yeah.
of him and the matanza, the carne on the table as he's carving it up. And then the chicharrones, I'm stirring the pot. I've got pictures of all that.
Oh, wonderful.
I think probably on my camera. At any rate, those are wonderful memories that are so dear to my heart, and wonderful friends that I love so much, and now they're gone. And so at age 85, I do have wonderful memories of our traditions that unfortunately many of them are already gone. There's still some around, and I participate in them, and pero no, ya todo se está acabando de los tiempos
Yeah,
pasados.
de los tiempos, no.
Sí.
Pero we have another way of how to celebrate it aquí, con
Sí,
hablando con la gente.
Exactamente.
Yeah.
Pero no, growing up at Reserve in a small little town, and, my mother died when she was 37 years old.
Goodness.
And she left my father, Pablo Serna,
Pablo.
with 8 children.
8.
8. My youngest sister, Rosalie, that I just lost a week and a half ago.
Oh,
She was only 7 months old, and I wasn't 2 years old because my mother passed away in June, and I didn't turn 2 till August 26th. And this August 26th, I'll turn 86 years old, and I'm the only one left in our family of 8.
Well,
But
wow,
there were-
congratulations, I guess.
Thank
yeah.
you. Those are wonderful memories. 6 beautiful sisters and a brother, Reuben. And he was a World War II veteran. I remember when he came home, oh my gosh, I was just a little boy because he was older than me. And Daddy picked him up at the mail because we had no buses or anything at Reserve.
Yeah.
People would have to take the mail truck.
Sure.
And he took the mail truck from Silver City, because that's where I guess I had a train.
Sure.
And Daddy picked him up, and he honked all the way home. All the town was so
Happy that he
to
was
have
home.
him back
Yeah.
and safe and sound.
On one
and
piece.
that'll forever stick in my mind as one of the major events that I will never forget. And that was my dad bringing my brother home from World War II, honking all the way. And he never honked the horn, pero he pitó el pito de la troca, because he had a little old
El
truck.
pito de la troca.
All the way home. And I'll never forget that. But my
sweet.
brother, I've lost him, and I've lost my oldest sister, Isabel, and she was only 14 when my mother died, but she was so smart, and she read so much, and she had me reading books at a very young age, such as Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking,
Bless her
Dr.
heart.
Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and I read those books, and they were wonderful books. And she would tell me, Pat, you can be whatever you want to be. But Pat, just picture yourself there. And always be positively focused. Never ever be negative. Always positively focused. And Pat, always be determined. And also, Pat, always believe in yourself. And she ingrained that philosophy into me. And that's what has brought me to where I achieved, Chief Justice,
Wow.
everything.
You had
and
some...
I can tell you a little story
Sure.
about how her philosophy embedded in me paid off. Because, in Reserve, we never saw lawyers, never heard about them or anything. And I went to a conference, actually, when I was at St. Joe's College, and that's another story that I'll have
Sure,
to tell you how I
sure,
got there.
Sure.
But I was finally introduced to an attorney, and I thought, oh my God, I want to be an attorney. They're really helping people, and if I become one, I can really help people that Reserve and everywhere.
How wonderful.
And I'll tell you the story later, how I got into law school.
Sure. That's most
but,
interesting, because you might have something to share with the young people who are wondering.
Yes.
What career should they do? Do you recommend it?
Yeah, very much. And I'm going to jump ahead and
Sure,
then
go
come
ahead.
back. When I was Chief Justice, I was the only Hispanic Chief Justice in the whole United States.
Yes,
and
I heard.
so I would get invited to different states to make presentations, because in a way I was an oddity. My God, can you imagine a Hispanic?
Fíjate.
Well, a lot of them would say Mexicans,
Yeah, yo sé.
But, they can call me whatever they want. But I call myself Hispanic,
Sure.
Latino, whatever they want to call me. I'm comfortable with it.
Sure.
Although we've been here for many generations, nevertheless, I know that initially our forebears came through Mexico.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud of that.
Yeah, you bet.
But I just have so much to tell you that I'm going to be cutting back and forth to when I was a lawyer
That's
and so
fine.
forth.
You
But
bet.
when
It's
I
very
was,
interesting.
and when I was Chief Justice, and I'd go speak all over, because in those days there were very few Hispanic lawyers and Hispanic law students. But when I'd go speak at all these schools in many states, Massachusetts, California,
Wow.
Colorado, all over. And they would be young people, college students, law school students, and I would tell them my life story. And I would say, and if this poor little old country boy from Reserve can become a lawyer, can become a district judge, can become a justice, chief justice. Think of what you can do, and you can do it. You follow that philosophy of picturing yourself there,
Envision.
determination, believing in yourself, always positively focused. You can do it. And you know what? A lot of the schools, students would come up, Hispanic students, and they would tell me, you know what? I have a similar background as your life, poor background, and through my grades and so forth, I'm in law school.
Fíjate.
And so, thank you. And I'm looking forward to becoming a judge and eventually Supreme Court Justice. Why not? You made it, I can too. So
Envision, no?
Yes, exactly. So
Pues mira, that's what I did. Somebody told me, envision. The brain is so powerful.
Oh.
Envision what you want to do. Well, you know what? I was out there roaming around the world, really, and the wonderful things that I was able to do and visit through NBC News. I finally said, I'm going home. So I started envisioning, what am I going to do at home in New Mexico when I'm earning all kinds of money with NBC? How am I going to do that? I envisioned being an anchor man. Can you believe it? I thought, there's no anchor man that's Hispanic out there.
Amazing. Probably the best we've ever had in New Mexico. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, envisioning.
See, Julio, by going back now, I was visioning myself as a lawyer.
Yeah.
Following my my philosophy instilled in me by my sister.
Oh.
And then the dean of University of Denver School of Law, Dean Yagi.
Yeah.
He's gone now. I gave a eulogy at his services in Denver at the auditorium in Denver. And he realized that there was a dearth. No Hispanic attorneys in the Southwest.
Imagine.
So he started this program. He applied for and got a fellowship award from the Ford Foundation of $50,000. And what he did, he started a summer program to bring in Hispanics for the summer and prepare them how to go to law school and so forth.
Excellent.
And he brought 20 of us from Colorado and from New Mexico, because Colorado had zero Hispanic attorneys. New Mexico is the one that did. But unfortunately, but fortunately too, the attorneys in New Mexico came from well-to-do backgrounds, and they fit in well because their parents were attorneys and all that. So they were kind of destined to be that.
Sure.
But people like me, from a place like Reserve, with no background of that, no contact, he gave us that opportunity, and he took 20 people from Peñasco, from Cochiti, me from
Reserve.
Not from Reserve anymore, but originally from there, and from Denver, and 20 of us. And they put us through a rigorous summer program with actual
Cases.
Professors and actual cases.
Wow, that's
and
good.
Out of the 20, 11 made it. And I'm proud to say that
You were one of them.
I was one of them.
Hey,
And,
cheers.
So that was how I got into law school.
Wow.
And so I got a fellowship at the University of Denver Law School for 3 years.
Wow.
I had to have, a very high grade average to keep the scholarship, but I kept it for all 3 years. And I set some good records there too. I was the first Hispanic on the Law Review, and then I became editor of the Law Review. And so I was proud of myself, and I did other things that had never been done at the law school.
Sure.
And so I did so well there that, and through Dean Yagi, I was offered a fellowship at Harvard Law School.
Bada bing.
See, Harvard gave me an award for a couple of years ago. And he said, "Do you want to go to Harvard, Pat?" And I said, "Dean Yagi, of course I do." He said, "Yes, you're going to get a full fellowship there for your grades here at the U and be editor of the Law Review and all that, and president of the class there, yes, they're willing to give you a scholarship, a fellowship, all paid for. The tuition, the room and board, everything, Pat. And then, not only that, because after I graduated from the College of St. Joseph on the Rio Grande in June I was inducted into the Army during the Vietnam conflict. At any rate.
So did you go to Vietnam then?
No, they kept me here at the United States doing office work.
Oh, sure.
Because I was a college graduate.
That works.
But all my friends at basic training at Fort Polk,
yeah,
se los llevaron a todos. A lot of them were from Texas.
Hijo.
They didn't even have college, the high school degrees, much less college.
Yeah.
So they would send them to Vietnam, and a lot of them never came back. But the only reason I didn't go was because I was a college graduate, and they could use me there. I did office work.
You bet, but it's important stuff too.
Yes, and I even did that, but then I had a job at the Officers Club. I started as a busboy, learned all that, and then I became a waiter because I learned all about the wines, what went with what and everything, And one day the bartender didn't show up, and I'd been studying the bartender, what he did. And so I volunteered, and I became a bartender. And eventually I became head bartender while in the Army. And I made more money in tips there than I did in my military pay because they didn't pay much in those days.
I know that, yeah.
Pero I hacía mi dinero in tips. Pero I was a good waiter, and I could... The one thing, when they'd have officers, commanding officer parties, they'd come and they'd line up for drinks because I was a bartender.
Yeah, sure.
And boom, 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 but you
got exposed to some pretty successful people
too.
Good.
But one thing is that they'd line up, and the officers, all they want is bourbon and water, scotch and water, boom, 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 easy to make. But those darn lieutenants, they wanted a pink squirrel, those awful drinks that takes forever to make. I could make them, of course, but I hated those first lieutenants for doing that. But the generals and the colonels and the majors, they ordered, scotch and water.
Nice stuff.
Bourbon and water. Boom, 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 boom.
That easy
and
stuff.
Having worked at the bar at the Officers Club, I knew a lot of them because they'd come there. But that was a good experience.
Chief Justice, you have had such a colorful past. And I think the message here for anyone who's listening, young people, old people, whatever, they've learned something from this interview, I think, and that's tenacity, stamina, go for it, envision it. And that works. What do you want to do, young man or young lady? Envision it, no? So more lawyers are going to come to the world thanks to you.
Yes, my sister's words are eternally in my mind.
Sure.
Picture yourself where you want to be.
There you go.
Be determined.
Envision.
And believe in yourself. And I'm still doing it. There are other things that I want now. I picture myself there, and I'm determined, believing in myself, and I'm still getting it. To this day, at age 85, that is still working for me. I can't remember specifics, but, I do it.